paintings can be seen in restaurants throughout Southern California, including Acapulco's, El Torito's, Chevy's, and Marie Callender's. Wow. Her gallery shows paintings and sculptures heavily influenced by folk art. Peruvian and Mexican are her primary ones. There's a bunch of others here too. And her focus is drawing attention to the animals and birds in our world and trying to communicate the importance of respect for all living creatures and their environments. Her sculptures are created from natural materials or recycled items to underscore her belief in conservation. She'll be working in acrylic paints today, I believe.
Okay, first of all, this is the first time I've done this, so you'll just have to bear with me if I seem awkward. But I thought today what I would do is show the paintings that I've just been doing very recently. And this was a painting I did from a bone I picked up on the beach. I do a lot of beach combing and walking along the beach with my dogs and stuff like that. And so that's one. And these are the color schemes I'm using because I want to get the feeling of fish look like live underwater, not just laying on a board or hanging from somebody's hook, you know, because this one is a rock bass. And I think there's a lot of those around here because I see the heads of them laying around on the beaches. Although I didn't paint this from a dead fish, I painted it from a photo. But you can take a look at those. And I thought I'd bring these because they're the same color scheme that I'm working here. And this is a piece that's just sort of half worked. It's a rainbow trout. And the part on the left I barely worked on, and I don't know if you can see it here or not, but instead of putting gesso down, these are painted on black gesso. I just made a thin wash out of this green gold color, and so that you can see the grain of the wood, because it kind of looks like water to me. I don't know if it shows through or not, and by the time I'm done painting it might not show through at all, but kind of seemed like a way to work to me anyway. So
what kind of wood is that?
this is plywood over, let's see, it's a 1/4-inch plywood, just on little strips of wood. These are actual boards, 12-inch boards that they were just laying around, and I just started painting on them. So I didn't bring any sculptures or anything like that today, but so I thought what I would do is this, besides the background, I just put some black on there, and I always sketch on dark backgrounds with chalk, and then I just went over it with a little bit of white, and this is just yellow-green here, and then this has been worked a little bit more. It's not altogether finished. These rocks are a little more finished, but they're not there yet, because I thought I'd sort of show the process of doing a rock. I just start by sketching a few out there. And then the next thing I do is I just mix different color, you know, sort of things with brown or whatever, and just paint messy until you start to see rocks. And then I delineate them afterwards. So I guess I should start painting before I'm going to get anything done here. You can ask questions, but I don't know if I can answer. So don't ask me what kind of brushes I use. I have like just tons of brushes, and I use golden paint primarily because I like it better than Liquitex or some of the other ones. But philosophical questions I can't answer.
I have one. How do you prep the wood?
Oh, this wood, I didn't prep it at all. It's plywood. I just made a thin wash of this with water and painted over it. If you don't put gesso, though, it does kind of suck up your paint a bit. So there's a lot of layers of paint on this particular fish. This one I prepped with black gesso. If you want a darker background, go black. And then on top of the gesso, I'll usually do a medium shade of whatever tones I want to do. In this case, I'm doing greens, obviously. So, and then This is my lack of environmental consciousness. I like to throw away my palettes. I don't want to be bothered clean them. Well, for one thing, acrylics, it just turns like a thin skin on top, and it's hard to, I don't know, I just don't see any point in cleaning palettes. There's too many other things to do.
Is painting on the wood something you routinely do, or was that an experiment?
No, I've done it before. I've painted on plywood quite a lot. When I painted commercially, I usually painted very big things, and that was always on canvas because it's lighter and easy to move, you know, and that type of thing. But my daughter only paints on plywood.
Are fish one of your favorite subjects?
This is the first fish I ever painted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
They're wonderful.
they are now.
Oh, except for that floor,
Huh?
that floor at LA.
Oh, yeah, right. I had to paint, I forgot all about that, but I had to paint a bunch of fish for Gladstone's Fish Restaurant in LA. And I had to paint crabs and sharks and, I don't know, octopi, I don't know what, I don't even remember what I painted, but yeah, I had to paint a whole floor with a bunch of fish. I forgot about that, Joe, thanks. All right, I'll tell you the colors I'm using if it's any interest to anybody. Burnt umber. This is Jenkins green, which is my favorite, one of my favorite greens. It gives you that kind of nice acidy color. And then this is another favorite color of mine, is green gold. But it's very transparent, so you have to mix it with other things. And when I'm doing dark colors like this, I like to use Titan buff instead of white because it tones everything down a little bit. And then black, I'll be using black, and maybe some yellow or whatever. And I'm sorry I have to turn my back to you to work, but that's the way it goes.
Are these a set of paintings for some purpose, or?
Yeah, I would like to show them somewhere, but I haven't figured that out yet.
In a group.
Yeah, it's been years since I really showed in galleries because I've just worked commercially most of my life and painted fruit paintings and landscape, you know, Mexican scenes, stuff like that. So I haven't really done a lot of gallery shows for most of my life. Now I have to figure out what I'm going to do. This is the problem with trying to talk to everybody, is I won't paint if I'm talking. So if you want to ask a bunch of questions, you can, but I don't know.
You don't have to face us.
I don't know if I'll get a lot done is the problem, so we'll see how it goes.
Why don't you let them see this, let the camera see that palette that you made up, just kind of, yeah, there you go.
It's, yeah, 2 shades of green, brown, and white. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of shade. This has nothing on it over the background color, which is that light color. And then a little bit of brown and a little bit of white. But now I'm going to kind of work on trying to make this thing look three-dimensional. That's the big challenge right now. And I'll need black, too.
Do you ordinarily use an easel like this? The reason
No.
I ask is because your painting is kind of bouncing, and I thought,
No, I usually use, I set it on like a table like this, like a table at that height or a shelf, and lean it against the wall. Is there some way to fix that, or it doesn't bother me?
Yeah.
It's gonna bother you guys more than me, huh?
It's the easel from here, so she's
Oh, I
making
see.
do.
that's right.
How do you decide your color scheme for the fish?
I don't know, I just started to work, I've always liked greens, I've used these colors for years for various other kinds of paintings. And rainbow trout, so had to put a little pink in it. They probably have more gray and more blue in them than this, but I want the feeling to be that it's underwater, and the water is sort of green, so
I
that's
see.
why I'm going with the green colors.
Well, Rosemary, if there's any way you can like, stand to the one side,
Which side?
if you could move to your left a little.
Oh, I see what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, so,
Get your pretty face on it.
Could I,
There you go.
yeah,
does that work?
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
so the camera catches it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't looking at that, I don't even care if you film me, I mean, I guess it's a good idea, it'd be nice to have, for sure.
Yeah, and you can have a copy of it if you'd like.
The painting photograph's beautiful.
If you wanna look at details, you can pass one of these around, and then while I'm painting, we can look at, you know, start down here, and then you can see how it'll kinda look when I'm done, I think. These are not gonna be perfect, as far as how the fish are, there's actually more, there's another fin here, but I took it out.
They look like our salmon.
Huh?
They look like a salmon.
Yeah, they do, huh? It's actually a rainbow trout, which is a very
Well,
similar
same
fish,
thing.
very similar fish, yeah.
I understand you have a fish here in Crescent City, apparently long. Have you seen the mural at the entrance pool?
Oh, yes, I have, yeah, I've been here long enough for that. In fact, I thought about volunteering to work on it, but I was really tied up at the time and couldn't take the time to do it.
Do you cut your own
Who
plywood?
painted that, did you guys all
The
paint
gallery,
that?
yes.
Oh, awesome, yeah, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful job. Oh, yeah, I make all my panels and stuff. It's easy to do.
And I mentioned St. Paul's.
You know?
Rosemary designed and painted a mural at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, the back of the church. It's beautiful.
This, pink streak, this sort of reddish streak is gonna be made out of, yellow and, I can't pronounce that word, thank you, I've never heard it pronounced, so I could never say it. That was a Terra Rosa red, a little yellow.
That's me coming on.
Huh?
Pretty?
Yeah, that is annoying, that wobbly.
Shouldn't you have two of these?
Isn't there a top brace?
But you can have some.
Maybe it's falling down
I don't know anything about that, well, there's this, but it's a wide canvas, is
Yeah.
the problem.
So do you have to worry about chemicals in the wood? Especially plywood, leaching through or anything?
I don't know, but then I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and the wood, or the wood warping.
I might have to worry about it, but I don't.
Okay.
That'd be the answer. I never think about stuff like that too much. Usually if you put a gesso on there, you wouldn't have to worry about it anyway. And the other thing about me is I don't care if these paintings are still around in 100 years. I mean, I don't care about
Give
that.
it the buyer's mind. I was just thinking, you know, how some paper.
I'm so used to
disaster-
working commercially, and I've painted out hundreds of my own paintings
Yeah.
to do something
So
else,
it
so I don't
doesn't-
care about all
okay.
that.
We used her on the swimming pool.
You learn by watching, I think, mostly,
Yeah, lots
which
of colors
is,
in there.
that's how I learned. And doing, obviously, by doing.
You've had no formal training?
Yeah, I went to UCLA and I studied at San Francisco State, was the first college I went to. But when I went to San Francisco State, the big rage was abstract expressionism, so I don't think I ever painted anything there that was a real object, which is fine. It was fun, easy. But, and then at UCLA, where I went like 3 years later, after I was in the Peace Corps, that's where when I started painting kind of realistic things. Just because I could, and they didn't care how you painted. They encouraged you to paint however you wanted to. So I like that better because I've always been drawn to sort of.
Do you
I
do
like
a
to
lot
paint, huh?
do you do a lot of research for your different varieties of fish before you paint, or do you just
Yeah.
wing it?
Well, that's why I painted this one first, so I know how to paint this one. I used a photo, yeah. I use a lot of photographs. And I'm not embarrassed, I'm not ashamed of that because you either gotta do that or go buy a fish. You're gonna have it sit around for a week.
Go out and catch them.
Or catch one.
Get a trained one.
Do you sketch your animals or your fish on your board with paint, or do you draw them on?
I sketch with paint or chalk or charcoal. If I'm working on a light background, I work with vine charcoal. That's the easiest because you can just erase it real
Right.
easy, it's not a problem.
How many years did you do commercial art in Los Angeles? Or in Southern
Well, I would
California?
have to reveal my age.
You mentioned Peace Corps too, so I'm thinking, boy, she's done a lot of stuff.
You're among friends.
I'm just kidding, that's it.
We got you all beat.
I worked commercially as an artist since 1970, about 1975, something like that. I started out part-time. I got a job in a design company, and then eventually somebody hired me to paint something because I showed them my photos and stuff. It's pretty much word of mouth, as far as artists go. I mean, nobody looks in the phone book for an artist, They have
Yeah. You've painted inside homes?
Yeah, I've done homes, model homes. I probably should have brought my portfolio today. I thought about it, and then I thought, well, I'm just going to show them how to paint a fish.
Bring it for your next demo.
Yeah, maybe.
He's looking good enough to catch and eat.
You think so? I can't tell. I usually get back more and look at things, but,
You can look at it on
A couple of those
TV there.
chairs, so you,
huh?
we could move a couple of those
No,
chairs.
no, it's fine. I'll just keep going. If you say it looks good, I'll take your word for it.
Look up on the TV.
Yeah, look on the TV and you can see.
Yeah,
It gives you the
well,
distance.
I can see pretty much. I'll get back later on when I need to. Really, I only get back when I'm kind of start to criticize everything. You know, to find, you know, do finer things.
What was the white color you used instead of white?
Tight and buff, it's like an ecru, kind of like a off antique white. It's just unbleached titanium, I think, or something like that. I don't know.
Definitely not as harsh as white.
I don't like using white. I mean, white's for pastels as far as I'm concerned. I use it sometimes, but like commercially, I did a lot of paintings, big, large paintings of fruit and stuff like that. And it's good for those bright colors. And when I painted fruit, I always painted on a yellow ground because it's really a good color underneath watermelon or you know, apples or almost anything, pineapple. I'm just trying to find the right brush. Oh, I've already lost the brush, that's good. Well, I wanted to do some real fine cross hatching here, so I need a teeny little brush for that.
Does the plywood have a
See, I
tendency
can't- I
to
don't
eat
have
up
any
your
brush.
brushes?
Huh?
Does the plywood have a tendency to eat up your brushes?
No. Oh, here it is.
Curious though, why do you use wood or that sort of thing rather than canvas?
No particular reason. Just started working on wood recently.
Most of us are hard of hearing. Would you speak up?
I don't know why I use wood. No particular. I like it better. I have wood in the garage. I have canvas out there too, but it's more trouble to stretch a canvas than to just paint some gesso on a piece of wood. I suppose it's just easier.
Besides, then you can get the size you want.
Yeah. Instead of.
I mean, if you do
having to
canvas,
cut
you
all
gotta,
those-
And if
you
you
gotta
Stretch
build
it.
your frame, and the stretcher bar has to be really good, you know, and that takes some time, and then you
Or
gotta
don't put it in the frame at all.
Right.
put at least 2
I don't
coats of
think you need
gesso
to
on
frame
it,
those.
and then start. And I think canvas is great for bigger pieces, but for small pieces, I don't see any point in bothering.
Is acrylic your favorite medium?
I started, well, I guess, I mean, I just always used it commercially because you can paint fast. And, you know, sometimes I'd have to paint a mural in a week or something, it's just easier to get it done, you know?
Well, I think in a commercial setting, would the acrylic actually hold up better than trying to paint oil on a wall?
Well, it's just easier and it dries fast. I mean, you can't, I used to have to paint, you know, from midnight to 6 a.m. or till 11 a.m. or something, and then people come in to eat. You know, you can't have oil
Right.
stinking up
Have
the
it smelling.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Mostly I did restaurants. And I did oils if I was painting on a canvas in my studio, but I almost always would do undercoat of acrylic because it's just fast. I just like to get it done, you know, so that's why I've always used acrylics mainly. I started out because I didn't like the smell of turpentine, but now they have better smelling things, so that's not really a big deal anymore. But if a client wants oil, then I'll give them oil, you know. But it takes longer, and if they want it yesterday, then sorry.
Forget it.
Funny story, I've been painting pizza boxes for California Pizza Kitchen, and there's this lady that orders them from me, and this summer I did about 60 boxes for her, and she wrote back and raved, and she says, I just love the oils. And so I never told her that I never used any oil. She didn't know, and I thought, fine. If you paint with acrylics a lot, I'm painting thin here, but if you paint thick, you can't always tell the difference. I mean, a person that knows how to paint probably knows, but
Were they displaying the pizza boxes on the wall at California Pizza Kitchen?
she framed them in lucite frames, and it would be always paintings of food they put on the pizza, you know, green peppers and onions and tomatoes and stuff like that. And they frame them in a lucite frame that was this deep, you know, and then the pizza box would be inside the frame. And they do that in all their restaurants, and they've got hundreds of restaurants, so I've done a lot of those.
It's a clever idea.
Yeah, they seem to like the idea. It's Crescent City. And I don't think they have them in their airport units, but it's a real big chain down south.
Now that you're up here, have you stopped doing commercial work, or do you
No, I did those last summer, and I'm not doing as much. I mean, I had a bunch of orders the first year. First 2 years I had orders, but now I don't have anything. So, now I'm going broke, I guess. Find out later.
She's turning into a true starving artist.
Right.
Yeah, painting should improve.
No,
if
I
you get money.
don't want to starve.
Get used to it.
I do have my social security, so there's that.
And you got your fish.
These, I think if you're gonna paint realistically, these kind of brushes are absolutely essential. They have real long bristles. They taper down. My daughter likes really teeny tiny brushes like this, but she does real teeny tiny detail. So I kinda like the longer ones because they hold more paint. You get, you know, more done in less time. I forgot about all those little dots. Rainbow trout have a lot of little dots on them. trying to gonna try to get to some of the rock work as well before.
Are you using that same long brush for the dots?
Yeah. I could use something else, but
Is that called a
it works
rigger?
pretty good. Huh?
Do they call that a rigger or?
This?
Yeah.
I think it's called a quill.
Okay.
The other brushes that are real handy that not everybody knows how to use are these. And these are really good for when I paint apples and stuff like that, because it's almost like an airbrush. You can blend one color into another and make it pretty smooth.
Do you mix anything in with the acrylics to keep them wet longer?
Just water generally. Sometimes I use a medium, but usually I only use the medium if I'm doing a wash, like the original wash. I probably put some medium in that. Some people like medium, some people like water. I don't really. I can use either one, but I prefer water because it's easier and your brush is wet anyway. And not too much.
Do you cover them with a gloss medium or anything
Yeah,
like that?
none of these are covered yet, so.
But you do that.
Yeah, probably semi-gloss on the wood because I don't know how the grain is gonna affect, things.
Do you put a top coat on your murals in the restaurants and stuff?
No.
Just that you use a medium on the top, right? On the top of the mural when you're done, you don't use a matte medium? Or do you use a
I
gloss?
could, but I never bothered.
But she does.
Acrylic is very strong stuff. I mean, it doesn't just rub off or anything like that. To me, it would just be a lot of extra money I'd have to spend for.
What brand of paint did you use on the murals?
Same stuff, golden. And, cause you can buy, well, down south you can buy them even bigger than the pint jars. So I like them because they have a good density of color.
Have you ever used or know of the brand called Nova paint?
I use this. I've tried there's one up here they sell called Ram. That works pretty good.
Have you ever gone back to one of your paintings that was in a restaurant that comes in contact with people, like behind a booth, several years later, to see what kind of condition it's in?
Usually at that point, usually they don't get much damage. And usually by the time that's happening, they're remodeling the whole restaurant anyway and they'll just paint it out. I don't care. Because then I get to paint another one and I make money again. So that's why I don't care about that stuff. I'd rather have the money than the paint.
Right.
Well, I've been in a couple of them where there's food spent.
Yeah, no, you can wash that off. Even if you don't put a top coat, you can wash off the top of acrylic. Once it's dry, it's better than wall paint, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think.
It's plastic.
Yeah,
It's plastic, yeah, it's
yeah.
plastic, yeah.
Acrylic is tough plastic.
It's real tough, yeah. So what am I doing? Forget what I'm doing. I guess I could do some rocks. That one needs a little more work, but
It sure looks beautiful.
I'll let it dry a bit before I work over it again. Alright, now for the rocks, I'm gonna add some yellow ochre to all this mess here. Let's see. What, I might wanna lighten the tops of them. See, that's because I'm nervous. I don't usually do that. I don't know why I'm nervous. You guys are very nice, but it's just
Do you want us to yell at you? Maybe that'll help.
You need another, you want another rag?
The rag is good,
In the bathroom, in the cabinet.
In that, little
I have
tub.
paper towels right here.
Oh.
I just haven't got to them yet. Trying to get the worst of it up. I used to just use a big bucket, but, and that probably is less likely to tip over. But I didn't think I'd be doing very much painting today, so I just brought some bottles. Well, I knew something like that was bound to happen.
Oh, we've had a lot worse than that. We've had them dump it right on the floor, right after we had the carpets cleaned.
I managed to save the floor. I mean, there's a little bit here, but it's water. It's just water. So. Or are you laughing because you just had the carpet cleaned?
No. No, it ain't.
Because we've all done it.
Yeah,
I don't even think we cleaned this carpet
yeah, kinda cleaned every year.
back here.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, the guy, this is only,
Excuse me.
yeah, he only charges us another.
Actually, I remember getting a very good photograph of one of our demo artists on his hands and knees cleaning the carpet.
Oh, my gosh. My worst carpet, I was always good about carpet, but my worst experience, one time I had a huge restaurant and I had like 3 people working for me. And so my daughters said, well, how about my roommate? Because they were in art school, and so I said, okay, I can use her, she knows how to paint. So I was very specific. We were painting beams, or, I don't know, painting all kinds of things in this restaurant. And I said, whatever you do, don't stand on the tabletops because they have a pedestal base. And if you stand on the edge,
Right.
it's going to tip over. And I was very specific about that. Well, somewhere in the middle of her working, she decided to jump off the scaffold onto a tabletop that had a milk crate full of quarts of paint.
Whole
With,
thing went over.
the lids were not on tight, that's why I kept them in a milk crate. And the whole thing went on the floor, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, or something like that, on the carpet. Luckily, it was the old carpet, and they were gonna put new carpet, but we still had to clean it up for that day. And all of us had to spend like 2 hours cleaning up that carpet, and needless to say, I never hired her again. So that was the worst thing that ever happened, but, I mean, we cleaned it up, and because water paint, you can clean it up, but if it had been the new carpet, I would have had to replace it, that's for sure.
Oh, boy.
Well, I had insurance, so, but I never had to use it. Anyway, so that's my carpet story.
When we were doing the Enders pool, it was super careful to make sure there was no paint on the
The
cement
tile.
anywhere.
Oh,
So
cement.
it got dumped into the pool.
Yeah.
That pretty orange that we
Yeah,
had down
orange paint in
Orange
the
paint.
water, and they just filled the pool
Yes.
for the first time.
Was it like a quart or a gallon?
It was a quart, and the
Oh.
partial, probably only about
Everybody
half a
piled
cup
in to try to
maybe
get that.
got into the pool. It got all over the deck. The deck
Oh,
was all
gosh.
brand new.
Yeah, everybody has a story like that, I guess.
Yeah. It was
Got
one of those
everybody's
days.
blood
And
pumping.
nobody wanted to have it.
Nice and bright sunshiny.
Yeah, it was nothing but turmoil that day.
Well, I always had people that worked for me, I would always have them, put their paint in a little cup, and that way there would just be a little bit, so if they spilled it, it wouldn't be a big disaster.
Yeah.
We did that too, we
Yeah.
managed to knock over one of the quarts.
Quarts, yeah, I know.
That's why we're all laughing, because it was the big one that went,
Yeah.
not the little cups. We were all
Yeah, it happens.
And we had 2 people that were assigned to the paint. We didn't let the artists touch the corks and all. We would give them,
And let the,
we'd give them their paint in the cups like you were talking about, but somehow the table that we had all the
They
supplies
were
on.
very, very insulting to all of us. They didn't trust us.
I guess, I mean, I've never really had a bad disaster other than that one, and luckily, like I said, they hadn't put in the new carpet yet, which was why we were painting in there, because I like to paint before they put the carpet in. But if it's in there, and I've done lots of it, I usually use a drop cloth, you know. I was always very fussy about ladders and stuff like that, because you just can't have people messing at the floor. See, I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm talking and not paying much attention. But like I said, it's rocks, so you can do whatever you want with rocks, and you just have to keep working until it starts to look like something. At least that's my finding. I have no particular method of doing
Well,
it.
there's never two alike, so you can do your thing right.
Yeah.
Can you do a wrong rock?
Yeah.
But you do have to get some sort of, you know, curves to them, and trying to get some volume there.
All of a sudden, there's more depth than
I'm sure other people know how to paint rocks, but I just don't. Don't really have a method.
Well, you could have fooled us.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what it looks.
Yeah, they do.
Well, I guess why I like painting is so infinitely flexible. I mean, I'm doing a lot of little sculptures now because I'm having a lot of fun with that, but it's a lot harder.
Well, like what, like realistic sculptures?
No, I should have brought them, I guess, but they're made out of driftwood. They're birds primarily, but they're not like carved or anything like that. They're just little pieces glued together and put together with dowel. You know.
And then you paint them?
Yeah, maybe I'll bring them down to the gallery one day.
Yeah.
No, I don't paint them. Did I say yeah? No, I don't paint them. I just like the natural wood.
And then when you finish them, do you have them indoors or outdoors?
The sculptures?
Yeah.
I just started doing them, so far they're indoors, but I haven't thought about it much.
In the gallery across from the post office, there's an artist who makes driftwood horses. He's put
I
two
saw
horses
those.
in there.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those.
Right. And he.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be fun to have they're kind of folk arty, my things, and so are his.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be nice to have like a kind of a folk art show or something.
Yeah.
You know, something that's less.
To attach the driftwood though, he uses these nails, and uses a nail gun, and nails them with a nail gun.
Yeah, well,
And he said he ruined his fingers, so he developed a medical problem as a result of it.
what? I'm not doing anything that big or ambitious. I'm mostly using screws and dowels,
Right.
which is just easier for me to do.
I noticed that his nails are already rusty. They're not steel.
Well, it's not the best way to put things together, but he sure knew how to do a horse, I have to say. Now this is kind of the water line here, and then these are like reflections of reeds and that type of thing.
Where were you in the Peace Corps?
I was in Peru.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, it was really quite an experience. And that was early days of Peace Corps, like third group or something like that. I worked with an arts and crafts project, but I was mostly working with women who knit sweaters, and I was working on a wool processing center for washing, building a little system for cleaning and dyeing wool, because previously they would like spin their wool before they wash it, and you never get that smell out of it, but the sheep smell was pretty vile. So, and then they would dye it in the river in cold water, and everything would run, and so they had a lot of skills, but they just didn't have the proper kind of dyes. So we were working on that.
What village did you work in?
Ayacucho, it's up in about 8,000 feet. Halfway between Lima and Cusco is where it is.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. I'm going to go over this a little bit because it's too kind of harsh looking.
Too what?
Oh, just too bright or something. I'm trying to get the underwater look, so I need to put a little green over everything.
Can you do that with the glaze?
Yeah, well, this is a water glaze.
All right, but that's what you're doing now.
Yeah, and this is just, well, it's not done, but it'll be close enough.
Geez, Josh.
What is that? Chair? All right, I think that's about.
That's great.
Now, when I get home, I'm quite sure I will work on it for another day or so, but,
Okay,
I don't know what I'll do to it.
Let's
I
get a nice
couldn't tell you
look
what I would do in the
I know,
future.
Are there any more questions? for
You just
Rosemary?
kind of wander in the studio and start staring at things, and they start messing with it, and that's what happens. See, I'm already starting to bug me, something.
Does anyone have any more questions for Rosemary? Thank you, Rosemary, so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Nervous, we're usually pretty.